Hey friends, welcome back to Mustard Seed Homesteading, and if you're new to this channel, my name is Megan and I am so glad that you came by today because we are not only going to take a look around the garden and do some more harvesting, but I also want to share with you my planter that I use in the garden, a few seeds that I want to start, and I finally got my starts outside so that I can start planting for the fall. All right, so before we go back there, I do want to show you my planter. So I have shared this on previous videos before. I bought this off of Amazon and I can't remember when I bought it. If you're interested in it, I can definitely leave a link to this down below. And the funny thing is, you guys, when I first bought this, I didn't really use it as much, but now I really enjoy using this outside, especially if it starts raining, you can keep things covered. But let me just quickly show you the compartments. So you can put your pens, pencils, highlighters in this bottom little piece. And then it has a clip where you can put more stuff in here. I have more planters, but I also have this book, Companion Planting for Beginners by Brian, I hope I'm saying his last name right, Lowell. But I love this book, so I'm able to bring it outside with me and keep it covered in case it starts raining. I can bring out my extra planters that I have. And then the front has a clipboard, so I can put whatever it is that I'm working on right here in front. And then the other thing that I love about this clipboard is the front has a clear cover and you can put something else here. So let's say you want to reference companion plants and there's like a little chart or something. You can put it right here, clip your planter on here, and then you can flip it open or, you know, up and down to kind of see whatever is in there. So I really do love this little clipboard and it's been wonderful to have in the garden. So here's what I want to talk to you about with regards to the planters. Now, I'm an old-fashioned paper, pen, pencil girl, and I like to draw everything out. Now, I do have apps that I have used and they have been helpful, but for me to have a visual to just be able to take this out to the garden and jot some notes down has been very helpful for me, especially if it starts to rain out. To bring a computer out here or an iPad is just a little bit more difficult. So that's why I went with this. Now, here's what I do. I draw out each bed. So this is bed 1, which is actually this bed right here. And so what I did was I literally drew the bed out and I wrote what was in each square. But here's what I want to tell you all as you're wrapping up your summer garden, or you already wrapped up your summer garden, is to take notes. What worked? What didn't work? What would you like to do differently next year? What do you want to do the same next year? So behind each bed, so each bed has its own page in these planters that I have a note page. And so what I'm going to do is take this outside to the garden probably several times and just jot down some notes. Like, so for instance, this bed, I have 2 peppers per square in my water grid. I might actually experiment next year and try doing 3, maybe even 4 per square, just because they do very well in supporting one another. So that might be something that I jot down. And then next year I might say, no, forget that. I'm just going to stick with 2 peppers per square, and I may not even do it. But I want to take notes now just so I have something to reference to, because I don't know about you, but for me, you guys, I forget things very easily sometimes. So being able to write these down helps a ton. And then the other thing I want to show you are some seeds. So I will show you the seedlings and how they're doing out here. I had a huge thing of lettuce that kind of got a little too hot, so I might redo my lettuces, which is why I brought all of my lettuces out here. But what I wanted to share with you all is some carrots. You guys, I have a problem with keeping it to a couple varieties. I'm not that kind of person that likes to just do 1 or 2. I know I should sometimes, but I don't. So my goal, this is my goal, is to start some carrot seeds. So I want to try St. Valerie, and this is actually from Azure. And then these are some of, okay, so this one's actually new, but I'm going to show you some of my favorite ones. So this one is Glow Stick Sunrise Mix by Johnny's. And then we have Deep Purple F1. I actually learned about this variety from Jess from Roots and Refuge, and her carrot this last, I think it was spring, summer, was so large and it looked so beautiful that I'm like, I need to try that. So I bought that variety. And then Romance F1 is definitely one of my favorites. I just grew this over the springtime and it did really well. And then of course, let me see, Caravel F1 does really good for me. And then the Napoli F1, this one is one of my favorites. This one did really good. So my goal is to plant these in the next couple of weeks. I'm actually thinking about doing them in bags this year. And then of course, a couple of beds because they do really good on the outside of the beds. If you saw my videos or my video a couple of months ago when I harvested all of those carrots on the side of the bed. So like I said, my goal is to start some carrots outside and I cannot wait to start these. And another thing I want to share with you all that I do in my garden is my to-do list. So for me in my garden, I need a little to-do list sometimes. And so I'll go on my phone. You can see that it says garden to-do list. I hope you all get a chuckle sometimes. I get my words twisted. It's just, I call my kids by the wrong name, my husband by the wrong name sometimes. It's just how I can be. But anyways, so what I do is when there's a lot going on in the garden, I get very overwhelmed with all the tasks that have to happen, I will go on my phone and I'll put these little circles so that when it's done, I can, here we go, I can put a check mark on it, and that helps me to stay very organized. You can see I kind of have a long to-do list for the fall garden, but it really does help. And I just thought I'd share that with you all. Sometimes it's easier for people to write it on paper and check it off. But for me, I like to just take this out, and then that way I could also add tasks to this if I see other things that needed to be added to my to-do list while I'm out in the garden. Now I want to show you my new seed rack for outside. So I do have a lot of these racks in my garage. If you've seen my previous videos, there's my crazy lettuce. But my husband and I came up with this idea a while back just because over here in front of my garage, don't mind this, you can tell where we stopped power washing. We still need to finish power washing. But I was leaving all of my plants along the garage door because this gets the most sunlight. And the way my driveway slopes, I can prop it up perfectly here. It's just been a really good spot. However, recently I've had some bunny issues, you guys. For the first time in my gardening the last couple of years, I've never had bunny issues, but they came around to some of my green stalks, not all of them because they just weren't going to eat all of them, but they were eating the green beans. They were eating some of the leeks that are in there, and they were just munching on stuff. So even if I wanted to and I didn't have that rack, I could have put them out here, but I was afraid that everything would have gotten decimated with the rabbits. So with that being said, with a lot of these being in the garage, and the garage was really hot because we were having some really hot days, some of this stuff didn't do very well. And I think some of the lettuce right here actually started to sprout. You can see like some of them are pretty stemmy, just like I showed you last week. So I might go through some of these because I do have other lettuce seeds that were started. I might go through some of these and use them, but if not, I thought about just cutting them and using them for little baby lettuces. And then you guys, it gave me the idea that I could probably do this during the winter time in my garage and have baby greens, like you would grow microgreens almost throughout the winter. So I don't know, I may do that, I may not, but all this that happened just gave me some really good ideas. But here's the rest of the starts. You can see I had to restart a lot, so they're very small, but we just started getting cooler days. There's some more lettuce right there too. We just started getting cooler days, and so a lot of the stuff is just growing very beautifully, but I also needed to get these outside, and they've only been outside for a couple days. There's all my snap peas. Those have to get planted. And then those are my green beans. So with that being said, now that we're having cooler days and I've had these outside, it is go time. I need to start planting some of this stuff and just getting the garden ready for fall. And the reason I started green beans in the tray, because I never did that, this is the first time I've ever done green beans in the tray, is for the reason that I've been having some pest pressure issues with the green beans, and then with the rabbits, I figured, you know what, I'm just gonna start some in the trays, pop them out, and stick them where they need to go. So that's why I did them in the trays. Friends, look at that Napa cabbage. Aren't they pretty? I'm gonna put them in the bags in the back. If you remember the Napa cabbage that was growing during the summertime, of course it got eaten with pests, but these are doing really good. And I think because the back pallets get shade, I think these are gonna do really good for once. So I just wanted to show you, they are looking so beautiful. All right, I know it's not a GREENSTALK garden tour. I'm gonna be doing that next week, but you guys look at all these green beans in the green stalks. They're beautiful. And all the leeks down there, they're doing amazing. I cannot wait to share all this with you next week. I also do want to mention in the next couple of months, not only am I going to be going through the fall garden with you all and continuously harvesting any leftover summer veggies that are growing in the back, but I do want to mention that I will be doing a harvest of ginger and turmeric. Last year these did amazing in the bags. I haven't talked about these a whole lot during my garden tours because these have been pretty hands-off, which has been very nice, but I do plan to do a separate harvest from these grow bags. I also plan to do a separate video with my sweet potatoes in the green stalks, as well as the sweet potatoes back there in the grow bags, as well as these beautiful fall potatoes that are growing in the green stalks, and then those new potatoes that are growing in the bags back there that we're gonna go take a look at right now. Fall is definitely around the corner, you guys. Look at all the leaves falling, they're so pretty. I cannot tell you how much I absolutely love the cooler weather. I so needed it. So here's the potatoes in the bags. I have a feeling these are gonna do really good. That's my hope anyways. But look at how much they've grown since the last tour. They're doing really good. Now, these are the taller grow bags that I had mentioned to you that I am growing them in. It's the first time I'm ever using bags that are this tall. I do have other bags that I've used in the past that they're green and they're tall like this too, but not as tall as this. And they did really good. I have green beans in them right now, so I'm not using them. So I'm really hoping that these bags work out very well. And there she is in her chaotic mess. But it's an organized, chaotic mess, right? So as we always do, let's go ahead and harvest any peppers that we have in this bed, as well as that bed over there. And don't forget, when your flowers dry out, you guys, this is when you come and grab the heads off and you can save seed. Friends, look at that bell pepper. It's orange, you guys. It finally turned orange. We're gonna harvest this right now. Look at this, perfect color for fall too. Not fully orange, but orange enough. It is so, so pretty. I'm so happy I have this. It kind of looks like a little mini pumpkin, doesn't it? It's so cute. Oh, friends, look at all that sweet alyssum in there. I put that in there as a companion plant, and they're so pretty. It was a little too hot in the summer for them, even though they grew a little bit, but they look very nice right now. And here are some new peppers that are still trying to grow. I have a feeling that we're going to be harvesting in the next couple weeks, probably all the way up till November. And then I do have some Joe New Mex, but they're not red yet. I'm gonna hold off on those, and then you can see there's some more blooms right here, which is nice to see. And then this is the pepperoncini. I'm gonna grab you, and I don't see any more here. Oh, here is some right here though. Here's the other one. And of course we got sweet banana. I'm loving these. I'm pretty much freeze drying these peppers. Oh, look at that. That's what you do not do when you pull a pepper off. I just completely pulled off a potential, oh well, didn't mean to do that. But anyways, I have been freeze drying my peppers just because I've been getting a lot every week. And so now I can use them for meals or whatever in the wintertime. Look at this cream zinnia, you guys. Oh, is that pretty? Look at that. We've had some beautiful pink ones, but this one is very sweet. Here's another one, and we're going to do it the right way. All right, and then we have some mushroom peppers. So I feel like these are taking forever to turn red. By the way, you guys, if you hear an ATV in the background, our neighbors are driving up and down with the ATV. It looks like a lot of fun. So if you hear that noise, it's because of that. But anyways, any little red mushroom that I see or that I can see has a little bit of blushing, I'm just gonna go ahead and harvest in hopes that the other ones will start to blush and that it'll tell the plant hopefully to produce some more, because these are some of my favorite peppers this year. I do see a lot of peppers over here on the end, but they're just not ready to harvest. I think this is the Italia pepper. And so just gonna wait on that. And then these bell peppers have been really good this year. This one's not ready, and neither is that one over there. By the way, you guys, look at all the cosmos up there. Isn't that beautiful? These are all the cosmos that are growing out of the pepper beds. They're massively tall, but they're beautiful. And I just have to point out and give some love to this Tulsi Holy Basil that's growing out of the ground. They're growing all throughout the green stalks. They're growing all throughout the garden. Even my lemon balm back there that we harvested on the herb garden tour video. They're just everywhere. And I cannot tell you how much I love volunteer plants like that. So here we do have some Italia peppers. I don't know, you guys, I feel like they're not ready yet. They're not ready. And then look at these little bell peppers. Look at these little bell peppers. They're everywhere. This one's, you know what? I think we're gonna take this one. And the only reason is that stem's looking kind of funky. So we're gonna take this one. This is the, you guys, this is the Emerald Giant. And oh my goodness, I am liking you. Look at those. Now they're starting to flourish a lot. So that's really exciting. Hopefully we can get some more of these, because I actually recently used some of the peppers. So I'm probably, either I already did or I plan to, I'm gonna try to put in some preserving videos for my kitchen. I did a bunch of freezer meals and I used some of the onions, the garlic, some of these bell peppers in some of the recipes. So that's kind of my way of preserving some of the garden so that I can make meals for my family during the very busy season with school and everything. So I may be putting that up, but that's another thing I've been doing, is not only freeze drying, but I've also been just adding them to freezer meals. Which reminds me, friends, if you want me to explain more about what it is that I do with the harvest and do separate videos showing you what it is that I'm doing and explaining what it is that I'm doing, let me know in the comments below. I've had a couple of viewers ask me, and I thought it would be a great idea to do some separate videos in that. So let me know in the comments below. All right, here's a Napoleon sweet. Here's what I've noticed with Napoleon sweets. They are like curling up. I'm not really sure why, but hey, as long as it tastes good, that's fine. And then we do have some, what is this one, guys? Oh, Cali Wonder 300, there you go. So we've got some over here, and then I think there was another one over there that we saw. But you guys, these are, oh yeah, here it is. What you doing over here, buddy? I don't know, should I harvest, should I not? I don't know. Let me feel, no, okay, not now. All right, and then I think this one is the Hungarian yellow. You are a champ this year, buddy. I am loving you and the sweet bananas. And there's another one. Love it. And look at the little babies. They're so cute. And there's an Ancho Grande right there, but I don't think I'm gonna pick that one yet. Nope, I'm not gonna pick that one yet. Now let's take a look at this bed. So this little cutie pie Tabasco pepper is doing really good. This one is starting to finally change color. I'm not gonna harvest these just yet. So I've also been adding midweek harvest during the week, just because when things are not ready and I can't harvest them on the garden tours with you all, I'll harvest them during the week. And then my goal is to put that in this video so that you guys are not missing anything that is coming out of this garden as much as possible, because I want to be able to convey on this channel how much you can actually grow in your backyard. All right, so I know, because I have been eyeing this, and all I kept saying is this is beautiful and I can't wait to harvest this with everybody on the garden tour. This one I think is the Emerald Giant. You guys, the Emerald Giant is doing really good. This is beautiful. I believe this is an Ancho Grande, but I'm not gonna harvest that one yet because it's not ready. Then we have an Anaheim chili. Then you guys look at all the cayenne peppers. They're still massively growing on here. They're just not turning red yet. Look at all those. That's super exciting. And the Santa Fe's too, there's a lot growing up there, and I've just been putting them in the freezer. My goal is to probably make some sort of a salsa out of it, or maybe even powder it and just stick it in tacos, or I don't know, I'll figure something out. All right, and then on this side we do have some serranos that I want to make sure I keep getting, because I'm going to have a lot of serranos to make something out of. And of course I can always count on these jalapenos because they just grow beautifully for me. And it looks like we're going to have some more lemon new mix jalapenos where they turn yellow. You can see they're all over the place. Now let's take a look at these back pallets, because like I said last week, these proved me wrong, because I thought these for sure were goners early on in the summer, and now there's just an abundance. So because I want to be really careful where I'm stepping, because of that rattlesnake a few weeks back, I'm just going to go ahead and harvest a whole bunch of peppers and put them in my little dividers. All right, so you guys, there is a lot of peppers in here that still are not ready to be harvested. Look at these long Jimmy Nardellos. They're so pretty. They're not ready to be harvested, but there's still so many. I'm still surprised at how well these are doing back here. But I did get some more shishitos that I thought were Mulata islenos. So let's put that in here. Then I got another bell pepper, an Anaheim chili, of course some serranos, and some jalapenos. As far as the rest of the garden, I will show you everything that I've been pulling out and getting ready for the fall, things that have still been thriving and things that haven't been thriving. So let's start with these buckets real quick, because I actually just cleaned these out. So I finally pulled out the gourd and all the loofahs because they just weren't doing anything. And the only things I kept in here are these dwarf-sized basils. I'm hoping to get one more harvest of those, but for the most part, I can still plant something in there with the dwarf basil. Like for instance, I do have this green bean growing in here, and actually I could probably harvest these too. And I may put the green beans, so if you saw those green beans on the shelving units, I might put them in here. I'm just not sure yet. And then as far as some of the tomato plants, I did keep a couple because they are producing a few tomatoes. I may end up ripping them out. I even actually stuck a green bean in with a tomato. So I'm not really sure exactly what I'm going to be doing with all these buckets, but I did want to rip out the things that were not doing very well. And so I did do a lot of cleanup. I didn't keep all the tomato plants in, but I did do a lot of cleaning so that I can get some of the plants in here. Let's go ahead and harvest that one. And you can see there's another one right there. There's a lot of flowers on a lot of the tomato plants over here in all the beds. That's why I'm hoping I can get another second harvest of tomatoes. And this side as well has all of the yikima. I did keep a couple of the tomato plants in here as well, in hopes that, so you can see there's some flowers right here, in hopes to get a few more. Now, here's what I do want to do with you all. I have been talking about the yikima in these buckets for a couple of garden tours, and I actually want to harvest 2 of them to see if they're ready, or to at least start harvesting a couple each week. So you see how dead they look? They don't really, it doesn't look like there's really anything. Well, if you pull this back, let me make sure I can, hopefully you can see this, and you pull this out. Now this one's not as big as I was hoping, but this is what you call a yikima. It looks kind of like a potato. It is a little green, so I'll probably just cut that part off, but it's lower in calories. Like for instance, it doesn't have the same caloric intake as the potato, but it kind of acts like a potato in that it's very filling and it tastes absolutely delicious when you roast it with salt and pepper. So I have a lot of those growing in the buckets right now. Now let's go ahead and harvest this one. Now this one's definitely bigger. I absolutely love these. Last year, so this might actually be too early. Last year, these were so massively big, but I also waited until I think October to harvest them. But I just wanted to try out 2 of them so that you can actually see what they look like. I also finally cleaned out all the bags, added a little bit of fresh straw. I'm more than likely going to be putting the snap peas in here as well as over here. So I finally cleaned out all the watermelon. They're all gone. And so I'll probably be putting snap peas like I said, but I do want to harvest this because this ain't going to get any bigger. So I'm going to harvest this right now. You guys, this isn't that bad of a size. I'd have to say for my second year, or wait, no, is this my third? I can't remember. All the years are blending in. This isn't bad, you guys. Oh, I can't wait to cut this open. Now we're going to harvest some of the green beans over here as well as the other bed. And then believe it or not, you guys, I do have a cucumber to harvest as well. All right, let's talk cucumbers, friends. So this one surprisingly is ready to harvest. So we're gonna take this one. Oh, you guys, I didn't see that one right here. I'm gonna take that too just because these bugs are no joke. They just want everything now. And then I actually found these two little cutie pies. So these are the Metke green serpent. I'm gonna butcher it. It almost looks like the Armenian, I think. You can see something got to it, but sometimes what I'll do, this will scab over on its own and it will continue to grow. It's the same with this too. And I'm just gonna let them grow and see what happens. Hopefully I can get some. But you guys, I am still getting a few cucumbers. Let me show you if I can, or let me see if I can show you that one up there. Maybe you can't because the lighting is not the best. But there's one right right there, if you can see it. It's not focusing for me. But there's one right up here. And then the other thing is my Piccolini and Poniente F1s, the stems look really good. And I have kind of a small feeling that I might get a few more. I'm not in a hurry to pull them out, you guys, so I'm just gonna leave them in here. And I do want to mention that this cherry tomato plant that's growing out of the ground, you guys, it is still producing cherry tomatoes. So I'm just gonna let it keep growing and get as much as I can. All right, now I'm going to grab as many green beans from this bed as possible. Now with my Martina Romas in this bed and my San Marzanos, and actually you guys, all of my tomato beds, there's no tomatoes to harvest. But as I mentioned before, there's so much new growth right here that I have a feeling I will be harvesting a few more tomatoes. Even if they're green, I think I'm going to be harvesting more tomatoes as time goes on. There's some here. I think I'm so tempted to get them because the bugs have just been horrific. So I think I'm going to actually take these too. But you can see there's a lot of flower buds. So I'm going to just leave these be and see if I can get a few more tomatoes, because part of my preserving is I love to use tomatoes not only for salsa, and I'm hoping tomato sauce and spaghetti sauce this year, but the other thing that I do is I make a lot of freezer meals with tomatoes chopped up in pieces with chicken and fresh basil, and it's absolutely delicious with chicken thighs and garlic and olive oil and onion powder, and then you just throw it on a bed of rice. I'll probably make a separate video of that because it's one of my favorites that I just kind of put together. But I'm hoping to get more tomatoes so that I can do a lot of freezer meals. And then you guys, this basil I harvested not long ago, and look at it's like crazy wild again. So I don't know if I'm going to harvest anymore or preserve anymore. I might just grab some when I need it and make tea. I'm not really sure, but the basil's just, it's grown like crazy again. And then I do love that the tomato plants, so I'm not too keen on getting on a ladder and everything. I know I did for the green beans and I will continue to, but I am liking how the plant kind of just bends over. You can kind of see that. And then if it doesn't break, it'll still grow some tomatoes. Actually, I'm going to take this one. It'll still grow tomatoes, and now they're coming down to me, which is kind of nice. Here's what I did want to do with you all. So this is an experiment. The parsley rooted, so it's not parsley, the herb. It's almost like a white carrot is what it looks like. I don't think I've ever eaten it, but I was very intrigued by it because it does look like a carrot. And I planted these in the very beginning. I know these are probably overdue to harvest, but I put one in one bag and I put 2 in the other, and we're gonna actually harvest this together. They're probably gonna be incredibly small. Yeah, that's really small. Of course, I'm gonna use whatever is here, but I just wanted to see what they look like, how they did with 1 versus 2, and how they did in these small grow bags. Okay, I guess there was 3 in here. You can see 1, 2, 3. So, and I could probably, like I said, get a little bit out of this so I can taste it to see if I even like the flavor of it. But I wanted to harvest these with you on camera because this was an experiment for me to see how they did in the grow bags, and then also just to taste them to see if I like it. You see the tomatoes? There's gonna be a lot. On this side, so we still have these, oh, I didn't see you, buddy. So we still have the bush tomatoes that I talked about in the bags. I still have this cherry tomato growing out of the ground, which, oh, there's tomatoes. I should probably get those, huh? So I'm still getting tomatoes here. And then, let's see, what did I do over here? Oh, you guys, here's what I did since the last tour. I completely tore these out. So I will be putting snap peas in these 2 bags with the trellises. I really like them here because this section right here catches all the water that flows down that way. And so I have really enjoyed them being here, but I will put some snap peas, and I don't know what I'll put in the middle, but I'm sure I'll figure something out. But I did clean that up. The GREENSTALK is doing really good. I've got a whole bunch of Tulsi and green beans in here and just a lot of wonderful stuff. So that's growing and growing really well. I've got green beans here, and then I think we might actually have some peppers to harvest. Let me check. Oh, look at that. I get sidetracked easily. There are so many of these tomatoes. See, the stink bugs and the flat-footed bugs have really liked these. So what I do is I come over here, and when they're on there, I'll just shake it like this, and then you hear all this flying. Isn't that a great impression, flying? Anyways, they all start flying away and you can hear them, but they have been all over these. These are some of my favorite tomatoes. I think these are the bumblebees. I cannot remember which variety these are, but these are some of my favorite. Okay, never mind. I thought there were some peppers to harvest. Actually, I think I'm getting it mixed up with last week when I harvested a few. Oh wait, hold on a second. I don't know. I think this might be an Italia pep. You know, we're going to harvest it anyways. So we're going to harvest this one. But I do see there are some baby ones on here. So these bags, I want to say these are 25 or 15 gallon. I cannot remember. 15 to 25 or 20. But I had a bunch of leftover pepper plants, and I want to say I stuck about 10 to 12 in here, and I didn't really expect much. I was just trying to experiment and then also fill up this space with a bag to catch the water. You can see how muddy it is. That grass doesn't even grow because it's so saturated with water the way the land slopes this way. And so far, you guys, I'm actually kind of impressed. I don't know if I'll do it again next year, but I am kind of impressed, and I have gotten some peppers and I see some buds for more peppers. So far I'm liking it. And then these bags that I recently cleaned up when I mowed the lawn and I got in here and cleaned everything up, they're still giving me some cucumbers. I do still see some flowers right here and some new growth. I did have to just throw one out recently, and then I think there's one right here that the bugs have not touched. So I'm going to grab this one with you all. Now, here's the thing. I don't know if I'm going to keep these a little bit longer or if I should start putting snap peas in these yet. I'm not really sure. Sometimes, you guys, I can't make up my mind, and then as soon as I'm in the garden and I start looking around, then my mind starts thinking about different stuff, and then I'll start tearing things apart. So these I'm not 100% sure yet. Now, I did talk about this last week. This week I am planning to rip everything out. Not sure about the basil. I might keep the basil in there, but I do plan to rip everything as far as the cherry tomatoes in these bags and the bags back there. And I will be putting nothing but snap peas in these bags to grow up the trellis. And then as far as the cantaloupe, you guys, now there is some powdery mildew on these leaves, but there's still buds. So I'm not really sure if I'm going to pull these out yet. Now this one I did end up pulling out, and I don't know what I'm going to put in there. I did start a squash. I might actually put the squash in there now that I'm thinking out loud. And then these two, I'm not sure. Well, this one is actually still growing, so I'm going to see how far this goes and keep that there. I might keep that there, but so far everything's doing pretty good. And then I know for sure, so this one I actually emptied out. I put all the owls on there for right now, but this one I emptied out. Now these two pallets that have the tomatoes, I'm more than likely going to rip those out this week and put, carrots. That's what I want to do, you guys. I want to put carrots in these two pallets of grow bags to see how they do in grow bags. I don't think I've ever tried carrots in the grow bags before, so that's my goal, is to try them in here. And then these very large bags that have all the tomatoes, I don't know, I might keep my Martha F1s down there because they produce beautifully. But they're still kind of producing some tomatoes, and I'm gonna grab them green. So I'm not really sure. I might just keep them here, and then when I'm ready to, like, I'll put my attention to other things, and then when I'm finally done with those things, I might actually start pulling these out and putting new things in here. And the same goes with these two pallets of tomatoes, because I believe both of them are tomato paste. And so, but then again, you guys, they're still growing some up there, so I'm not really sure. This is me, like, parts of the garden I'm not 100% sure, but then there's some parts where, like, yeah, I'm gonna rip that out and we're gonna put something else in there. And then friends, look at the sea of green beans. I just love these. So real quick with these, they're not ready to harvest. I was checking, I was hoping that we could harvest them today, but the green beans are little babies still. But what I do plan is to put the Napa cabbage in those two empty bags that the pumpkins didn't do well in. And then, you guys, I was thinking, as I was actually talking to you about lettuce seeds, I might actually put some lettuce seeds in with the green beans, so that when the green beans are done, I can snip it at the soil line. It'll fix nitrogen into the soil, which will give enough fertilization or nutrients to the lettuce that's growing in there, if that makes sense. So that's what I was thinking, and I might do that. So this is what I mean about Martha F1s. They just, I mean, they are producers. So this is why I grow them every year now, but why I might just leave this bag as well as this bag for the Martha F1s and tear out the other ones. I'm not sure yet, but I'll probably keep these in for a little while longer. All right, friends, well, I'm adding this into the video because I had to harvest this during the week. I'm so excited to harvest this. This is the golden honeymoon cantaloupe. You can see everything is completely dried up. And so this is definitely ready now. It usually says when it just falls off is when it's ready to be done. But because I've been having so much bug pressure everywhere, and this is really close to the woods back here, I do not want to take a chance. So I am going to take this off, and then when I cut it open, I will also insert some pictures of the cantaloupe. Oh my gosh, this is exciting, you guys. I've had a really good cantaloupe harvest this year, being that it's my second attempt at growing cantaloupe. So very, very exciting. Here's some more that I harvested during the week. I just want to make sure that I am showing you everything. So we have a few cucumbers. They're not fully grown, but again, because we've been having such bug pressure, I just don't want to take a chance. So I just harvested some tomatoes, some green beans, because the more you harvest the green beans, the more it'll tell the plant to produce, even though bush green beans will stop producing after a certain point versus vining. It's always good to just keep harvesting them as much as possible. So here's my little midweek harvest with the watermelon and the cantaloupe. I'm gonna wash them up, but I just wanna make sure I'm showing you everything as much as possible coming out of my backyard garden. All right, friends, let's go ahead and see what we harvested today. All right, this is probably a lot easier, and I should have been doing this every week, is just tilt the camera down. But I love the variety of peppers that we've been getting with the hot peppers as well as the bell peppers and just everything, you guys. The consistency in these peppers have been so wonderful, and I'm so happy that we got more this week. And then We got ourselves the last watermelon of the season for sure, and some cucumbers. Not a ton of tomatoes, which is fine because I have a feeling we're gonna get a whole other batch of tomatoes. And then friends, look at this yikima. Now they're not as big as last year's. Hold on one second. They're not as big as last year's, but I think I harvested these a little bit early. I want to say last year I harvested them in October, but we still have more to harvest. And I can't wait to harvest them with you all because I really do enjoy having these, and they're very hands-off. They're very filling and they're very easy to cook. And then, okay, yeah, these are a little small, but that's okay. It was my first time growing, and I don't believe they're a summer crop. So the fact that they even grew in a grow bag in the summertime, I think is pretty cool. So at least I can try it and see if I like it. And then you guys, the watermelon. I'm so excited that I got a watermelon. Guys, we got some green beans. Very, very excited with the green beans. We're gonna have a lot to harvest in the next couple weeks, especially in that back pallet. Well, friends, I greatly appreciate you coming through the garden with me and just letting me share my thoughts with you on what I'm going to be doing with the garden, what I might not do with the garden, and just harvesting the abundance of food in the backyard. I really do appreciate every single one of you, and I really look forward to seeing you guys next week. And always remember, friends, I want you to be encouraged, stay encouraged, and always stay inspired. And I'll see y'all next time. Bye.